Well, there's a lot happening, and it is about our lives and relationships. Dr. Eve is with us in our studio this morning. Dr. Wasserman has been giving advice on the show. We've been talking about marriage and moving on while you are still married, and we're also touching on divorce. Some of the questions that I really want to delve into is what to do when we have kids, and you need to explain this to your children. You're in the same house, perhaps you are separated, but divorce is not an option. We're also hitting the streets this morning. We're asking the question, is it okay to start dating before the divorce is final?
When you're still married, I think no, it's not okay.
It's being on a married but not yet divorced. To start a new relationship is not the right thing to do.
It's not right to start dating if you're still rushing.
I don't think it's okay.
No, I don't think it's okay to start dating. I think you should fix things in a relationship.
Hi, Dr. Eve. I'm going to try and be naive this morning. Can you have a healthy relationship when you're still married? Can you date someone else and think it's going to work out?
Yeah, I think that this is very traditional views around, no, you shouldn't be dating, you shouldn't be dating.
I'm scared of these questions.
You can have a healthy relationship when you are with somebody new. No, I don't think that that's always possible. But then again, depends how long you've been emotionally detaching from the previous partner. You may have really cleansed yourself and really gone through your process of letting go. And then dating somebody else is really a very healthy, valuable step. It can be fantastically healthy. I have to be very clear around that if you are done with your work in your marriage and you meet somebody else and you feel clear of that detachment, then it can be valuable.
The work is never done, Dr. Eve. The work is never done.
But that doesn't mean that you have to stay stuck.
Because we talked about rebound relationships 100%. On the show, and we talked about how some relationships that are on the rebound could be healthy, and that every relationship is actually a rebound relationship.
Absolutely.
What are the implications of a situation like this? You are still married, you have both now decided that you're moving on, divorce is too expensive, but you're both dating.
Yeah,
there's something that's not so liquor about this.
About that. I don't know if it's because there is the legality of still being married, but I think that if there is an agreement between people, then that's an okay thing to do. If you're living in the same household, I really believe that that gets complicated. I think that psychologically, seeing somebody get dressed up and go out on a date is very challenging. And unless the couple has an agreement around that and they are adult or mature enough to be able to manage it, there is no judgment against it. I have a concern always around the children because it becomes confusing. In our world, marriage means two parents who are together and children get used to that.
See, I'm such a traditionalist, and I guess I'm also terrified of life just generally. But we're going to our phone lines, 0839133728. Anonymous is on the line. Anonymous, you are live on your Feel Good Breakfast Show. What's your question or comment?
Hi. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. You can go on.
Okay. I don't actually have a question. But I've been living with my husband in a very similar situation, and we've been doing that for 3 years. But my comment basically is that I agree with Dr. Eve in terms of the psychological things. Although you have the boundaries and the agreements in place, the reality of it becomes a very different thing, and it's not always as easy as, just saying, we have this agreement, this is how we're going to live, and it doesn't always work that way. I think we've actually got to the point where we have decided to go ahead with the divorce, but unfortunately, I think it makes it a lot more difficult than just saying, we've got these agreements, we've got the boundaries, but when it comes to the actual reality of it and living in that situation, it's a lot more difficult than that.
Anonymous, thank you so much for your call this morning. We really appreciate it. Well, there she just said it. It's really, really hard. They've made a decision. For 3 years, she's living with her husband, and now they think, okay, well, we're going to the step of divorce. Those are the implications that we talked about.
Yeah, I liked so much that it was very adult. They had their boundaries, they had their agreements, and yet she's still psychologically struggling with it, and now they have to go through to the divorce.
But surely that gives you hope again. But hope is good in a marriage, right?
Well, I think it also tells you that people really struggle to get divorced. People fight a lot. One in the box says it was saying, work at it, work at it. Of course people have to work at it. Of course people have to really process and really squeeze it out until you really feel, okay, I can now let it go. And then still, there are so many years of pain that happen, and regrets, and self-reflection.
And I guess you have to
around
ask
it.
yourself the question whether you're willing to live with that amount of pain or whether you are okay fighting a little bit with your husband. I don't know. 083-913-3728. We're not talking about abusive relationships here, hey? That is a no-go. Anonymous, thanks for your bravery this morning, and thanks for giving us a call on 083-913-3728. There's loads more happening. Dr. Eva's going to stay here, and you can keep calling. We'll be back after the break.